2 or 3 days ago, even as I was wondering how to break the word of the day for you, I came across this book, The Failure of Nerve, Leadership in the Age of the Quick Fix by Edwin Friedman, a rabbi and psychologist. In his book, this writer describes or defines leadership as follows. A leader is one who is, in his person, an unanxious presence in a system that is very anxious. Let me repeat that for you. A leader is one who remains an unanxious presence in a system that is anxious. Just look around. And all systems are anxious. Systems, by their nature, are meant to be anxious. They fight for survival. And so, they are anxious. Families are anxious. Corporations are anxious. Councils are anxious. And committees are anxious. Baseball teams are anxious. Board of directors are anxious. Anxiety seems to be the way we live out our days and stay awake at night. It seems to be our second nature. And yet, a leader is one who remains an unanxious presence in an anxious system. Welcome to the Gospel of the Day. The storm at sea. Look at that image. Peter's bark at sea, lost at sea. And yet, they did something that seems to be the saving element. They took Jesus with them into their boat. And so what do? They do what you and I do. They go to the right person, Jesus, and ask just the wrong question. Lord, don't you care we are perishing? Now don't blame the apostles. Pause for a while and ask yourself this question. How many times have you and I asked this question? Lord, where on earth are you? I don't want to say it in any other way, though that's how we say it when we are upset. Where are you? If you are the loving Father, the provident God that I believe in, that you show yourself to be in, where are you? I need you. My family needs you. My business needs you. My relationship needs you. And that's where the first reading of the day comes to our rescue. Job has been through much. I don't belittle his suffering. And he asks that question, God, where are you? And God would turn that question on its head. When I fashioned the heavens, Job, where were you? When I separated the ocean from the earth, where on earth were you? When I created the heavens and fixed the stars and called them all by name, Job, my friend, where were you? And so, will you be silent and just shut up? Because I'm your God, I am always by your side. And now, welcome to the Gospel of the Day. A storm at sea. And Peter's bark is swayed by the wind, the waters, and water, the boat is filling up. And the apostles, and I believe, knowing Peter the way I do, probably that question came from him because it's Peter who always opens his mouth and puts his foot in. And I believe that he said to the Lord, Lord, don't you care that we are perishing? We are languishing here, about to sink, and the boat about to capsize, and you are fast asleep. Don't you care? You know, as you go about as an unanxious presence, as a leader, that being unanxious, being undisturbed, could be perceived as a non-engagement, as a disinterested posture, as someone who is not concerned. And yet, truth is to the contrary. Being anxious, what can you accomplish? By the way, fear is good, but not anxiety. Fear is very concrete, very tangible, very real, and it is even necessary in certain areas. I'm not talking about all fears. But anxiety, it doesn't solve any problem. In fact, anxiety is itself a problem. Now pause for a while and look at our own culture. Don't we live in a culture of fear? A culture that is whipped up and made to grow. A culture that is blown out of proportion in fear. Politicians, pundits, and I dare say priests are busy whipping up a lot of fear in people. Why? Because fear sells products. 15 months ago, when we announced, or when we had it announced, the lockdown and shelter in place, you remember we were running helter-skelter, hurry-scurry, looking for? Yeah, and the charming tissue paper, the paper towels, chicken, groceries, or as she said, Lysol. And all that was away from the shelf. Why? Because of the culture of fear that was created. And yet, what does God say to us time and again? Be still and know that I am God. And that is why we sang today the words of God to us. Be not afraid. Why? For I go before you always as an unanxious presence. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. Sisters and brothers, God is this unanxious presence in our midst. And His presence always goes before us. May not be as cloud by day and a flame by night, like we read in the book of Exodus. But God is real. His presence is real. And even the Eucharist that we celebrate, Eucharist that is the source and summit of all our spirituality, is but yet another presence of Jesus that we refer to as the real presence. So, why be afraid? Why are you terrified? I know your health situation is bad. You lost your job, or your business is not doing well. Your relationship is dead, or your loved one is no more. These are concrete problems, and they seem insurmountable. And it is then that God says to us, be not afraid. Fear not. Have no fear. Why fear when I am near? And He says that 365 times in the scriptures. Now, does that ring a bell in you? Once for every day of the year. To conclude, today we celebrate the Father's Day. And I look to the heavens and thank God for my dad. And he was, to the best of his ability, as I have known him, an unanxious presence. A presence that was always by my side. A presence that protected me. a presence that made me feel safe and secure, a presence that I grew up would make me feel cherished and valued, a presence that challenged me, a presence that sometimes confronted me, looked me in the eye without ever getting into my face, and told me that I could be better than what I was at that time. A presence that comforted and consoles, a presence that always sustained and nourished and nurtured me. That's the dads that you have experienced, an unanxious presence. My heart goes out to those who miss their dads, or who wished probably their dad was more present in their life. And so today, we thank God for this unanxious presence of God in our lives, as the fathers that we have known mirror it to us. And let's look to the heavens and thank God for the Father that He is to us. And let's look around at the fathers here in our midst who are with us. And let's also remember those who are no more with us, who've gone before us, marked with the sign of faith, and thank God for the gift of them, for the unanxious presence that they have been in our lives. They made us feel cherished, treasured, and they say to us what the Father said to the Son, Jesus, you are my well-beloved child. And so, I say to you again, fathers, happy Father's Day. Continue to be this unanxious presence. I know that you are like the duck in the heather farms in the lake, calm on the surface and probably pedaling like mad beneath the surface, because you have your problems, you have your challenges, but I do not know how you manage to come across as this unanxious presence for your children and for your spouse. May God bless you for it. And together, let's look to the heavens and thank God for this unanxious presence that He is always to all of us. And so together we say, Happy Father's Day, God. Could I hear that back? Not for me, but for him. He is a little away. Together.